Welcome, good people, to Sports Cards Anonymous, a channel where we have conversations about cards. I got to go to a fantastic card show in Houston last weekend. It's the TriStar Card Show. It's my card show I've been going to since I was a wee lad, as they say. I don't know, since I was 10 years old. And I had a good time. And there's a lot of things that kind of surprised me. This was the most excited I've been for a card show in a long time. I have a goal this year to go to a card show once every month. And I've actually been doing that for a few months now. So this was my first one of the year, January 31st. So I just got in for January, but I was always planning that one. It's a great show. A lot of dealers, a lot of old school dealers. So I was expecting to see a lot of what I'm chasing. So I'm going to show off what I bought, but I also kind of want to talk through a little bit of what I observed. And this isn't like a card show blog, vlog, recap. It's really not that. I'm really impressed by the market right now. I think the market's on fire. I think there are some fantastic cards out there that are starting to get bought up. And it's really what I want to talk about, right? That's going to be the story of the video today. But along the way, we're going to show off some great cards. So I went into the show and I am specifically targeting great cards from the 2010s, not the 2000s, not the 90s, not all the modern players that everybody wants right now. I am looking for great cards from the 2010s. I think there are some fantastic cards that are going very cheap relative to what you see being produced today and relative to even what you're seeing being produced in the 90s and 2000s. I say it all the time. I started collecting in 1999. I don't have the nostalgia for the PMGs and for the Star Rubies and the 89 score that a lot of other people do in the hobby. I have nostalgia for game used patch autos, right? That when I was growing up and coming into the hobby, that was the big thing. That's what was in vogue and it's what was becoming big. And I think we saw kind of a move of that. It really, those cards really matured and became, I think, stunning in the 2010s. And we really have moved out of that because now everything's player worn or not associated and all these other sorts of things. So I kind of think that patch autos, they have a heyday. They have an era, and it's the 2010s. I think when we look out, if we, fast forward 10, 15 years, we're going to look at the 2010s and think that was the pinnacle for patch autos. I think patch autos out of the 2010s are going to be similar to the PMGs of the 90s. I know a lot of other people are trying to figure out which parallel set is going to be the PMG, or is it going to be Kaboom? Is it going to be Downtown? I think we are making it too difficult. Game use patch autos are awesome. Everyone appreciates them, and so I think that's what's going to be special. But I'm not saying that so you can disagree with me. I don't really care. Like, this is my opinion, and it's what I'm chasing. I just want to put that out there because I've been looking at a lot of stuff on eBay and have not had much success winning at auction. Things are going. Patch autos from the 2010s are going for 2, 3, and 4x recent comps. Since the fall. And it could just be a busy time of the season, so I'm trying not to overextend myself too much, but man, I mean, this stuff is really starting to get bought up, and that's what I saw at the show, and that's what we'll talk about. But I made 5 deals. I was at the show for 7 hours. I made 5 deals. That's got to be an all-time low for me, like deals per time. But funny enough, when I walked in the show, I made a deal like immediately, and I walked out of the show. When I walked out of the show, I made a deal right as I was walking out. But anyway, when I walked into the show, there were a couple cards that I knew I was chasing that I wanted to pick up. Again, this show is a very Houston show. There are a lot of dealers there that go to Dallas, but they're kind of old timers. They've been doing this for a long time, and they're from Houston. And so I've been buying some Hakeem, and so there was some Hakeem that I wanted, some Bagwell and BGO that I was looking for, and some Altuve. And one of the Hakeems I wanted, I saw right when I walked in the door, and we did a deal. So this was the first one. This is a PSA 6 with an authentic auto. I hope that shows all right there. Of course, this is his 86 Fleer rookie, and it's signed Hakeem Olajuwon, and it's signed The Dream. One other thing that I'm really focused on right now is inscriptions. The more I look at autos, the more I look at what's available, you do not see a lot of inscriptions. And so I'm placing a pretty big premium for myself for inscription cards. And so I was really happy to pick up this Hakeem right as I started. Almost immediately after that, I walked over to another table and I had a case of cards. In fact, let me grab that case of cards. I'll show you because it's a little bit different. I don't have a Pelican case. No, 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 no. I'm way too hipster for no Pelican case. I hope this show's all right. This is called a Just Stuff case. This is from the 90s. It was made by Sunco. Me and my boy Schwartz, we each had one of these growing up, and it's just like the best case ever. And so anyway, this is I bought a few of these off of eBay recently, but this one's empty. But you can fill these four quadrants up with graded cards, and then top loaders or sleeve cards go very well in the middle. So I had one of these filled up with cards, and they were all stickered, recent comps, whatever. Trying to, it's just stuff I want to trade or get out of. And so I go up to the first, I go up to a dealer to make a trade, and he wants my Albert Pujols. Have a Topps Finest PSA 9 auto. I've been kind of wanting to move out of that card. I've had it for a few years. I enjoyed it, but it was just time for me to move on from the card. And he paid for about half of it in cash, and then the rest of this makes up the difference. This Blastmaster Griffey, just a beautiful card, right from the 90s. I have a new thing that I want to start talking about here. So you all know I talk about stunning standard. I talk about scope of collection. I have all these phrases that I like. The next one's going to be hobby gold, and I'm going to talk more about it. But think of it as a store of value. And it's like, I don't necessarily want this card in my collection. And I also, at the same time, don't want to be picking up cards that I don't want in my collection. But if I am going to pick one up, let's make sure that it's liquid and it's something that I can move and it's something that I can use in trades. And the second one, 1992 Topps Gold, Michael Jordan. Hope that's showing all right on camera. I love the 92 Topps Golds. I just think they're awesome cards. I love the camera angles on these 92 Topps. They're usually from under the basket. They're largely from under the basket, at least for the players I care about. And so I think it's a great card. This was the card that I saw that caught my eye and is what kind of started the deal. And this is, I don't even know what year this is, 2005, maybe 2004, Leaf Limited. Game used helmet, auto for Brian Urlacher. I like those old school silver sticker autos. And it's number 4 of 25. And yeah, it's a great card. So that's what started the deal. He had this sticker a little too high. He had it at 250. I thought it was more along with 160. But this final card kind of made up all the difference. This is not a card I want in my collection. It's not a card I'm going to have very long. I don't think. I would be shocked if I own this card come December 2026. But it is a card that I thought was at a good value, a good price right now, and something that would be easier for me to move in the summer, again, as I continue to go to shows. And this is an SGC Explosive, Patrick Mahomes in a 9.5. And it was a good value on this particular card. This is, I guess, a case hit out of Absolute. It's not really a card, again, that I care to have, but it is a card that I thought, in future trades, it might be something that can help me move some stuff. So that particular discussion got a little heated. Me and that guy, he did not want to budge on money, but I was like, that Pujols refractor is awesome, or that Pujols autos are awesome, and I'm not going to take a discount on it. So he eventually met my number. And his buddy who was next to him kept telling him, like, dude, you need to buy this Pujols. He knew I was like giving him a fair deal. And then so I went over to him afterwards, and we worked out a deal. I traded with him. I gave him an Acuna Topps Chrome rookie purple refractor auto. Again, I bought that and that Mahomes the same month. And it had just run its course in my hands. I just didn't care to have it anymore. So we worked out a deal. I got some more cash there, and I got these three cards as well. Here's this Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome refractor. I don't particularly care to have it. It was priced well. And again, going back to the idea of hobby gold, I think it's something that I'll be able to move relatively easily. So I was happy to, pick it up for that. Now this one I like quite a bit. It's one of the few cards, if you notice, I started this off saying, I was looking for stuff in the 2010s. And so far I have showed 0 cards from the 2010s, I guess, besides the Judge, 2014. This Kobe that's coming up next is from the 2000s, but the 2000s it was my secondary focus. I'm a big fan of Topps Black Paper. I think they're wonderful cards. I think they're, a little bit underappreciated in the hobby. This one's numbered to 500. This guy had great stickers. And big fan of this card. Obviously, Kobe, as liquid as they come. So as far as hobby gold and that idea goes, it fits quite well. But I was happy to pick that one up. And then as we were negotiating, we were off by a few bucks, and he had this stickered for $10. Or yeah, he had this stickered for $10, and I went ahead and picked it up. And it's a Reed Shepherd Bomb Squad. The Bomb Squads are cool. These are very nice looking cards. I do watch my Rockets, and I like Reed Shepherd quite a bit. I know he had a little bit of a disappointing start to his career, but you know, he's coming back into style. So anyway, I want to talk about this deal in particular. So I told you I had my box kind of filled up, and I had those 4 quadrants filled with PSA slabs, and then in the middle I think there's 4 holders for top loaders. I had 3 of them filled with top loaders, and the last one was empty. And then I was looking through my cards, and I was like, I threw in like 20 penny sleeved cards. These are like $3 to $5 cards, and I was like, I was almost embarrassed to bring them, but I was like, oh, whatever. It's empty. I got the space. I'll just throw them in. And if somebody wants to work the deal, that's great. He ended up taking 3 of them in that deal, like 3 $5 cards. And I was surprised, and we talked about it. He's like, I need inventory. And that's actually what I want to talk about right now. As we pause, I got a couple more stacks to go through, and they're the best cards yet to go. But this is what I want to talk about. I was surprised. So I finished this deal with this guy, and then I walk around for probably 6 hours before I make another deal. The next deal I make, which is my second to last, is with the same seller as this. He had stuff at his table that I really liked, and I knew I was going to go back to it. So I was literally walking out of the show when I went and did another deal with him. So I mean, I walked around for 5 to 6 hours without doing a deal. And the reason is nobody had inventory. It's so strange to me. It was so weird. And so this gentleman that I did this most recent deal with that I showed off, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm happy to pick up these $5 and $10 cards because I need inventory. Stuff is just selling. And the first guy, the guy prior with the pool holes, he was missing. He had a ton of empty space in his case. Now, as I talked to all the dealers, they were saying it was a pretty slow show, but still some people were coming through on Friday, the first day of the show, and buying out cases. Now, of course, we know about repackers and all this sort of stuff, buying people's cards and putting a lot of cash out there. But I was shocked at how little inventory so many tables had. And none of them, it came empty. They were saying like, hey, I kind of got bought out, a guy would come and buy stuff. And as I went through, again, for a 6-hour stretch, I was looking for basically any NBA or MLB legend on-card auto game use patch from the 2010s, and I literally could not find one. I'd find maybe I'd find one on occasion, but it was, stickered just ridiculous. It was a $600 card, even with favorable comps right now, and they're asking $2,000. Just kind of ludicrous numbers. But I could not find anything from the 2010s that I found appealing, and I just, I keep having this feeling that we are taking the 2010s for granted. Because again, like I mentioned, I saw all this stuff on eBay that I was interested in, but I wanted to wait until until I went through the show, because I was hoping to find this stuff in person and get a better deal. I left the show and I spent over $1,000 on eBay on 3 cards because I was like, this stuff is nowhere. You cannot find this stuff in the 2010s. It's disappearing. My buddy Paul likes to talk about some rare cards from the 90s for football. Some of the lesser known stuff, but very rare. And he has a good saying that says that eBay makes it seem more common than it is, that it's easier to find than it is. But as people catch on to certain cards, it dries up. I'm seeing that with 2010s. 2010s, game use patches, on-card autos, legends, NBA, MLB, that stuff is drying up. It is very difficult to find. And when you do find it, it's 3 or 4x the last comp. And if it's going at auction, it's going to end, 2 to 3x the most recent comp. I mean, this stuff is really flying. And dealers, they have none of that on hand. Then, they have a lot of this modern stuff. If I go to a dealer's case, I mean, this was pretty much almost every dealer at the show. Open a Red Bull here. Dealing with a cold or something, I can use a little liquid. When I go to a dealer's case, I mean, dude, every dealer was up to their eyeballs in vintage, in 90s, in 2000s refractors, and of course in ultra modern. But 2010s, dude, you couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, forget even patch on, patch game used autos. I mean, you're not finding like good rookies from the 2010s. You're not finding anything. I don't even see a Mike Evans card now that I think about it, which a rookie I don't even care about from the 2010s. I couldn't find that. Derrick Rose, which I think is '09. I didn't see any Derrick Rose cards. I didn't see anything from that era. That stuff is being bought up and it is quickly disappearing. I mean, people are buying it and putting it away, I think. And it's not just because of my experience at the show, it's because of my experience on eBay the last few months, plus what I saw at this relatively large show. So it just, for me, it really drives home the point that this 2010 stuff is kind of special. The hobby was in a transition time. And so there's not a lot of it made. And people are realizing, hey, this is high quality stuff. On card, patch, game used patch, on card auto. And, they're just not making it like they used to. And so I think we're starting to see that stuff really get bought up. And one thing that kind of bothers me, I'll talk about this for a moment and then we'll go to the next pile. Sports Cards Investors recently put out a video. And it was like a $20,000 challenge. So like Jeff got 10,000, and I think the dude Ryan from the shop, I think that's his name. I may be wrong there. The kind of like dry humor dude who does like the Pawn Star style, purchase video inside the shop. That dude's awesome. If I got his name wrong, I'm sorry, but that dude is so cool. I really like him. He's fun. He's great. But they do this challenge where they each get like $10,000, and their goal is, I think, within in 2 hours they go spend that $10,000. And you can see that this is at the Dallas Card Show in January, which was mega packed. But in this video, you can see that the show is empty. So they're obviously very early, before anyone else. Probably Thursday VIP access type of deal. And they take this $10,000 and they go out and they just scoop so many cards. Like, they are mostly buying $50 to $200 cards, right? I mean, they scoop so much. And the more I thought about it, the more it really bothered me, because of the experience I just had at the Houston TriStar, where like I had a hard time finding cards that I was interested in. Is that, I'm sure I would guess this was probably a Whatnot thing, because Whatnot's been doing that forever, where they give either Jeff or Ryan from Cards Collectors 2 money and let them spend it wildly at shows. And they go in and they drop all this money. And 2 years ago, we were all praising this because it was adding so much liquidity into the shows. And that was when the market was a little bit more bearish looking. And so that really helped the shows. But right now, with the kind of the bull thing going on, like, I actually think it hurts the shows, because they're buying great inventory before anyone else even gets a crack. So now the people who bought tickets, who maybe flew in, to be there and to try to buy some stuff, like, these tables were just completely bought out before they even got to get started. And to me, that kind of kills the show experience, because, I saw one card really stuck out to me for whatever reason. It was a Dwight Howard rookie that Jeff Wilson bought, or he at least looked at. It was stickered for $75. It's kind of a whatever card, but it's a cool card. It's Dwight Howard, whatever. It's fun, speed don't lie. And, that's the kind of card to me that people kind of go to shows and see. And it's more of a perusing. Like, when you're at a show, you're more perusing and looking for interesting and unique and different. Where on eBay, it needs to be more tactical. It's strategic, surgical, as some would say. You're looking for very specific things on eBay, but at a card show, that's your chance to peruse. And so I don't know, man. If Whatnot gave Jeff 20 grand and gave Ryan CC2 10 grand, I mean, that's 30 grand that just got scooped up off the floor that other people don't get a chance to buy from. And it is what it is. I'm sure the dealers are happy to have the money. I'm sure Jeff and guys are happy to buy the cards, but and it just, to me, just seeing all those great cards get scooped up, it really hurts the show going experience, because you just kind of devastate the inventory. And that's what I saw at the TriStar. I saw, I go to a dealer and they won't have much inventory, and they say they got bought up on Friday. I mean, every single one of them that I went up to that had limited inventory, that's what they said. I got bought up on Friday. I got bought out on Friday. And so I would assume that that's breakers or repackers. I don't know. And the guys who didn't get bought out had the modern, stuff that I'm, not the biggest fan of. But anyway, so I walk around for 6 hours. I have these observations, and I go, because I knew that this gentleman that I bought the Hakeem from had another card that I was interested in. So I went and we started making a deal. something really interesting happened. So the card I went back for was this. This is an authentic auto 10, 81 tops Larry Bird. I hope that's showing all right. Beautiful silver auto. So he had a blue auto, which was just authentic. And I had seen that auto, but the auto was a little bleedy, right? And that's why it was just authentic and not an authentic auto 10, because he didn't grade the auto because, you know, it was a little streaky, I should say. And so I go and I was like, hey, I see you have something under that Larry Bird. You know, is it another Larry Bird? Can I look at it? No, I was going to pick whichever one looked best. And I personally love blue autos. I like blue ink. To me, blue ink is just peak. It's pinnacle. You can't top it. But the silver really looks good. And the blue really bleeds into the green of the Celtics uniform there. It just gets kind of busy. He signed the blue one in the same spot. It was kind of hard to see. So I thought the silver really was vibrant and popped really well. And so I wasn't sure which one I wanted because this one was stickered $200 more than the blue one. So I was like, well, let's figure out a deal because you have some stuff I'm interested in. And then let's just figure out which one of these makes sense. And his buddy's standing there listening. And then his buddy leans over to him. He's like, hey, do you mind if I pick out the ones I want from that showcase? And he's like, no, go ahead. And his buddy, what a jerkwad. He goes and grabs the blue one. He grabs the blue. He sees that I'm trying to figure out which one of these I want. And he grabs the blue one while we're in the middle of the negotiation. He was there the entire time. It was so rude, man. And it's so disappointing because the dealer that I was working with was awesome. He was such a nice dude, great cards, easy to deal with. But his buddy, man, that was very rude and really off-putting. It really made me mad. And I was leaning towards buying this one, so I didn't lose my mind. But if he would have snatched this one, I mean, I would have walked away. I would have been very angry. It was really rude. Anyway, so this bird, and then the next up, which I knew I want. I didn't see it when I was there, but I asked him, was, hey, do you have any of this guy? And this is a Shaq Auto 10, right? Yeah, authentic Auto 10. And he had this and the gold. The gold was stickered $200 more. I did try to make it a deal for the gold. I would like to upgrade this into the Topps gold. But you know, he didn't really want to budge on that. And I felt like I was getting a good enough deal on this. So I was like, we'll go with this one and we'll go from there. But great auto here, just a great card. Um, I wasn't really doing YouTube when this particular like fad hit where people were chasing the auto rookie cards like this, the in-person autos, but I did pick up quite a bit just before the fad really took off, luckily. And I ended up selling them because, I don't know, I was just like, whatever, I don't know how much I like them or whatever. The specific players I got. But this one I love. Shaq and Charles, I really like on, you know, NBA TV or TNT, whatever it's called. It's not TNT anymore, Inside the NBA, but and the bird I just thought was cool. I just thought it was really unique. So we were negotiating on this stuff, and we couldn't quite come to a deal. So I pulled a trick out of the Ryan CCCC2 card book. I was like, well, what if we add this card? Now this card, I've been chasing this card for probably 4 or 5 years now, and never could figure something out. At this point in the show, because of the deals I had made prior, I was up like $1,200. So I had traded some cards, I got some new cards that I like, and I have $1,200 cash in my pocket. So I'm like, let's pull the trigger. Now's the time to pick up this card. And it is the stunning 2011 Topps Update Jose Altuve rookie in a Cognac Diamond Anniversary in a PSA 10. I'm not too big on PSA 10s. I don't care to pay the premium. This is one of the cards, though, that I definitely wanted in a PSA 10. I think a lot of these, the centering is very obviously off. And so I did want this particular card in a PSA 10. And I was quite happy to pick that up. So we add that into the deal, and then we're still a little off. We're about $50 off. He had one more card that I was like, look, man, my eye keeps catching on this card. What if we throw this in, add sticker, and I'll throw in 25 bucks. Meet me both ways. Because I think he had this card listed quite cheap. I think it probably should have been listed $100 more. So we threw this in, made the deal there, and super happy with it. This is a Topps Dynasty number 7 of 10, July 4th patch. Jose Altuve. I'm not quite sure on the distance yet. Still figuring out this setup, but there you go. Just a fantastic card. That patch is just awesome. Love that patch. So cool. So we worked that deal, and then me and my buddy, my poor buddy Schwartz, just hanging out with me this whole time. I'm doing all these deals. And I was like, all right, let's go, man. I'm tired. You're tired. Let's go. We're old, too old to be staying on the floor this long. Sorry if I got that slurp on camera. We want to talk about the hat. Nixon? What a great president. So we said, all right, let's leave. And as we walk out the door, I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe what I saw. And I asked the guy, what's the price? And I had a number in my head that I would have been happy to pay. And he said exactly that number. And I said, let's do this. It's a 2016 Flawless Roger Staubach dual patch auto. Now, Panini got in a lot of trouble in 2014 for mislabeling game used versus player worn. And then they became much more generic with their wording because they misidentified like 37 players patches. So this one says player worn, but, and I usually only want game used with the on-card auto, but I love 2016 Flawless. I think 2016 Flawless is, this particular, the vertical style is maybe the best designed card ever. I mean, I really like it. I'm a big fan of these cards, really big fan of these. Just wonderful cards. They look great. And so I was happy to pick it up. Happy to nab that. This is a lot of what I spend my time looking at on eBay is this kind of stuff. And I was happy to get it at the price I got it. So I picked that up, like literally as I'm walking out the door. So as I walk in the door and I walk out the door, I do a deal like, 30 seconds in. And then in the 7 hours in between, I did 3 deals. So it was a hard show in that way. And I used market movers. I've really been trading more at shows, and I really enjoy it. It is a lot of fun. Yeah, you got to work deals. You got to look at comps. But the negotiation and the dance is so much fun. And you end up with, maybe you're up cash, maybe you're down cash. I ended up spending $170 compared to what I brought because of this purchase at the very end. But like, I got all that for $170. Obviously, I traded away some cards, but they had run their course in my collection. I was happy to move them and let somebody else have a crack with them. So, a big fan of trading at shows. It really does add something. I don't care for these dealers who like want 80% or 70%. That's not what I'm doing. Like, I'm showing you cards. Is there something you're interested in? This is the price. This is the fair market price. Now, you have something I'm interested in. What's the fair market price? And let's negotiate this. But yeah, I don't care for these dealers who want 70% of comps or 80%. It's ridiculous. Like, we're trading, and I understood you paid for a table and all this, but that's a decision you made. I don't care. They can just make it a trade night and not sell tables. But it is what it is. So yeah, those guys annoy me. But all right, that's the video. I had a great time at the show. If you aren't going to shows, you need to be going. Shows are just a fantastic way to enjoy the hobby. And me going to shows once a month has been going on for about 4 or 5 months now. And it's a fantastic way that I've been enjoying the hobby. I would strongly recommend it to everyone. So, all right, thanks everybody. You have a good one. Until next time, as always, my friends, keep collecting.